Hi everyone, and thank you for joining me today to explore an important topic in education, student speech rights. The goal of today is to raise awareness of the First Amendment and how it applies to both students and districts. To start, what does freedom of speech mean for students? The First Amendment states that it's unlawful for any public school that receives federal funding to deny equal access or a fair opportunity to or discriminate against any students who wish to conduct a meeting within the topic of religion, politics, philosophy, or other content of the speech. The foundational case for students' speech rights originated in the Tinker versus Des Moines Supreme Court case. This case involved a group of students who were suspended for protesting the Vietnam War by wearing black armbands to school. The court ruled that the students' actions were protected under the First Amendment since their behavior did not cause substantial disruption to the school environment. Additionally, this case resulted in the court deciding that the schools cannot suppress student speech solely upon the desire to avoid discomfort that is coupled with an unpopular viewpoint. In contrast, Bethel School District versus Frazier involved a student who conducted a speech for a school assembly that included graphic and vulgar language toward another student and was suspended for his actions. The court decided that student speech is subject to censorship when it violates standards of civility. These cases help to define what parameters are for students' freedom of speech. Public school and charter school students are protected under the First Amendment because they receive government funding. Private schools do not have this luxury and can restrict students' speech. Some states have implemented policies to protect expression for private school students. For example, in California, students are protected by the Leonard Law, which extends the First Amendment to all private school levels. Keeping this background information in mind, we are going to look at a relevant issue regarding freedom of speech within schools: student athletes' First Amendment rights on social media. More than 95% of 13 to 17-year-olds have social media accounts. It has been a challenge for legislation to evolve at the same rate as social media, which has posed a challenge in controlling students' online behavior. Student athletes are held to a higher standard of conduct than non-athletes in school because they represent the school in more than just the classroom. With that being said, the court states that student athletes are subject to increased regulations on social media by being on a team. Speech can be broken down into three categories. First, speech causing substantial disruption to the school environment. 2, vulgar, lewd, obscene, or plainly offensive speech. 3, school-sponsored speech. In Lowry versus Jefferson County Board of Education, football players that petitioned to have their coach fired. The court found that this act did cause significant disruption within this team due to the petition undermining the authority of the coach. The court confirmed the district's decision and ruled that all actions were not protected under the First Amendment. In Mahoney Area School District versus BL, a cheerleader posted expletives about a sports team after not making varsity. The student was suspended, and the court decided that her speech rights were violated because her post was not targeted at anyone and did not cause substantial disruption in the school environment. With very few Supreme Court cases involving social media use of student athletes, administrators can use cases like Tinker versus Des Moines or Lowry versus Jefferson County in guiding their disciplinary decisions. Studies have shown that the court tends to support students unless their behavior involves violence. This still makes it challenging for courts to prove if disciplinary actions are justifiable, because courts have narrowly defined what substantial disruption is in all aspects, including athletics. I believe that student athletes' freedom of speech should be more restricted because these students are representing the school in various ways that go beyond just being a student in the classroom. Their actions online are a reflection of the school and their program. So, what do you think? Should student athletes on social media be censored more than non-athletes? Are students' First Amendment rights fairly protected in public school settings? Thank you.